Welcome to Channel AMEC, your insight to the Australian visa system. Good day everyone, my name is Carl Young, your online YouTube visa consultant. Are you interested about migrate to Australia? Why don't you consider to subscribe to my channel and turn on the bell on the side so once we have all the updates and news, you'll be the first one getting all the insight. Now today's video we are still talking about the migration review report. Now particularly focusing on the skill migration, the point test system. Now obviously if you have followed my channel long enough and also the news recently, you notice that there's going to be an overhaul on the skill migration. So we have talked about in our channel, we have talked about the employment sponsor, we talked about global talent, the investment business visa and things, but we haven't really touched on the basis of the skill migration. So today I'm going to focus on this point test system. Now there has definitely some agents and lawyers and specialists have come out and putting some whatever they think that the future of the point test will be. Now what I'm gonna do today, rather than predicting, I think well, we'll do a little bit of predictions, but we'll go through the entire migration review report, particularly on the point test system where they talked about, and also reflect back to the Grattan Institute's recommendations, because that's the sole thing they have taken from the Grattan Institute as the recommendation, and now they have reflected the actual migration review report, which will be the key indicator for the upcoming changes for the point test system. So let's have a look of the actual review report first. Now it basically have talked about that the skill independent visa point test is not well collaborated for long term, and they basically meant they wanted to change a lot. So we have these key phrases as I had mentioned in the previous video talking about high human capital. So I think this aligns with the global talent independent visa, where they are looking for globally talented, but perhaps they may not meet the global talent's criteria, but they're still good. They got high human capital, they can be young, talented, and can contribute to the economy for many years to come. So they're looking for this, and also they're looking for the partner of the skill migrants. Well, if you have a partner, if not, how can they actually collaborate and utilize the point test system to actually select a better, the better partner, shall I say, a better skill partner, talented partner. So that's another indicator that they want to go, and obviously they look for a long-term, long run. So the point test system currently that we have has been there for about, I don't know, 10-15 years, so there's definitely something that required to be changed. So this is the current system points. They're giving up age points to age, work experiences, English proficiency, qualification, partner skill, and the specific education, Australian study, regional, professional year, and the credential community language. So the reform direction, let's have read on this one, as this will provide you an overall indicating what are the direction of changes that we are expecting. So the panel proposed further work be undertaken to understand which characteristics contribute most to the migrants' labor market success in order to inform recalibration on the test. So we will make the number of, first of all, overall the current point test is not sufficiently it doesn't what they have done, I think it's good enough, but it just cannot identify those high human capital migrants. So they gotta focus more on those ones. So the migrants in the future will contribute more to the economy. Now remember, if you go back to my channel, there has been a video that I've done solely talking about a specific courses or program that may be enhanced in the future, and I think that will be mostly in engineering, because what we have seen on the global talent and also National Reconstruction Fund, it's all focusing on technological advancements, and these business or industry will require mass number of engineers. So I believe the coming skill point test system will also focus on that as well. Okay, so let's head back here. Further consideration should be emphasized on places of spouse. That's what I have mentioned it. So currently the spouse point is only giving up to 10 points. So should that be increased to actually make a spouse's talent to actually contribute more to the points? I think that will be a key indicator there as well. And also the age, I think they will give the highest points to the youngest talents, and then continue to drop until the age of 45. I think that will be the way to go. I don't think there's much that can be changed there. The current approach of providing more points a long period of Australian work will be interacting with temporary visa. So that's talking about the employment sponsor visa, which is going to be up there by July, and where the salary is required to be $70,000. So that will be interchanged with that program there. However, I think there will be some indicator where work experiences or the salary being offered with a higher salary rate could actually get higher points. I think that's another thing to actually measure and indicate, not just the work experiences, because they can work. Look, they can work in a very not low end job, but a skilled job, but still remains at the lower end of the skill employments. But if somebody can actually achieve a higher end of work employment, more not exceeding what the GTI required, that's $162,000 per annum, but lower than that, I think that will be somewhere indicating the skill migrant will earn more points there. Value of a skill occupation list, selecting migrants and quality of their list. Now obviously we've been talking about, we know that the occupation list will be removed for the employment sponsored visa, but from the recommendation and the proposal and the review report here, it seems to be the occupation list will still be there, just to verify that the course taken by the skilled migrant or candidate actually meet the standard there. But how are they gonna differentiate between, for example, if we're talking about a civil engineer, now how do they differentiate with a junior civil engineer and a very experienced senior civil engineer who deal with large infrastructure? So probably using job offer and the annual income earning, evidence of annual income earning for the past, I think in reading from the recommendation, about 2 years, to actually measure that and give it more points towards that there. Okay, now scrolling down, there's some samples there. It talks about we can be more strategic approach at attracting highly skilled migrant. Again, this aligned with, I think everything is aligned with, against the global talent targets, and anyone below global talents criteria will actually meet these criteria. So again, Australia is moving towards a technological advanced nation. So I believe that is the way to go. But people may say, well, what about cook and chef and carpentry and things like that, or occupation like that, or even accountants? Well, it will still be there. It still be there, but not as prioritized as those technology require or related occupations again. Yeah, because they have already gone through that, and Australia is moving. Well, they still keep their tourism and hospitality industry, but I think Australia is, as a nation, is moving towards a technological advancing a nation, rather than just a tourist, happy life kind of a country. So that is the way to go. Now there's some example here. So broadly, they're talking about high skilled migrant, for example, in demand skill with the highly skill in the high demand globally company within mid-30s and STEM professional who earn 300,000. I mean, if they do that, they probably can lodge a GTI. But again, now the guy might not have a nominator, right? And GTI will require to demonstrate further stuff. But and there's more quota. Remember, they're giving out more numbers to the skill independent point. So if they're young and they got this kind of talents, may not. You don't want to squeeze into that 5,000 quota, but if you go into a skill independent, you got a lot of quota, and you might get PR, permanent residency, easier. High human capital, talking about young talents with a PhD graduate. So again, this will be some kind of selection, and also exceptional cases that will be something somewhat different. I don't know how they're gonna do that. So they are into an international competition, and that is the let's look at the reform approaches. First, most highly skilled migrant consider developing a broader area to reform. Second, the change of considering existing global talent visa to improve clarity, selecting criteria. So obviously they are expanding the original concept of global talent. So obviously global talent will be sitting at the highest end of the skill migration, and then moving downwards, they will mix with employment sponsor and the skill migration, or general skill migration there. Third, the creation of non-sponsored temporary offer focus on attracting young, skill, and high human capital. So they're talking about, this is more talking about, rather than having a very complicated system, let's go into the recommendation from the Grattan Institute that was posted last year. So I think there are a lot of things that we can talk about here, although the word is very small, but I'll read them out and explain more. So again, I can tell you that I can't say 100%, but I think 70-80% the review report reflects to this recommendation by the Grattan Institute. So a single universal point test. So there's no more. They wanted to remove the current problem that the state and territory all provide their own matrix. For example, Canberra matrix. For example, how the South Australia has a different measure of points, and it's just too complicated. Every single state and territory have their own one, so they're gonna remove all that. They want to have a single universal and let the state and territory have a more how should I say, a target oriented, so they will find whoever they want and they can provide a sponsorship there, but I don't know how the system will actually work. So there's a lot of talks here about the lobbying and things. They talked about the state government has been also vulnerable to industry lobbying, prioritizing granting, so there's a lot of issue they've been identifying there. Now the point has a different migrant characteristics. So the first thing is the younger worker should get more points, and the second one is the spouse should get more points as well. So that I have been talked about just right now. And higher wage job offer, unsure applicants should attract substantial points as well. So again, so there's the age and the partner, and whatever the job offer, or you can prove that you have been working in, and receiving some high salary payments. A review should also use the valuable administrative data access to migrant characteristics. So let's move down to some of the review other topics. It talks about review should explore alternative occupation lists to target point tests. So what's happening now? They although they have abolished the occupation list, they are looking to abolish the occupation list for employment sponsor, but it should be kept there. Employment sponsors should retain since outcome of point test. So they are working collaboratively between employment sponsor and the skill migration. So in the future, a international graduate, they get a job offer, they get a 485 visa, perhaps they enter into employment sponsor visa, and during time they can shift and change to a skill migration pathway, or vice versa. And that's where they want to balance the stuff. So our recommendation reform would deliver substantial benefit to Australian community. So they're looking for a long run. That's basically what the whole Grattan Institute recommendation and also the migration review report directs indicates where the skill migration will actually be focused on. So let's just summarize it. I'm not gonna predict it, but from the recommendation, we can tell that the future of point test system will emphasize on younger. I mean, the current age points, I think it's fine, but whether or not they're gonna add more value or points towards a certain degree, I'm not too sure. Now, they haven't talked about English yet, but I think English will be another key there, where should a person score average IELTS say 7.5 have a higher score than the 7.0, because currently the points are jumping from 7 to 8 straight away, and there's nothing in between. So whether or not there's going to be more emphasize on that one, I think it probably can do something there, because that can also measures and to characterize a talented migrant as well. Now, for the work and employment, they will emphasize not just for the length of the work, but also emphasize on the salary rate. So if you've been offered for a higher salary, or you have already been paid, so being offered and or being paid will have different value as well. So being paid means you already demonstrate evidence of support that you are highly skilled, right? And but if you get offer, you probably, well, you get some value there as well, but not as high as the guy already got paid. So there will be differentiation there as well. Now moving towards talking about the higher rate, remember for the employment sponsor visa, they have talked about and recommended that the high pay job should get permanent residency as well, and that pay rate is above 85,000. Now whether or not that's going to be implemented, we don't know. So it will be between 85 and something below that will meet those requirements. Now further towards the spousal, so the spouse or the partner, if he or she will have the skill and talent, more points will be added as well. So how should we say, so a skilled migrant with a family with a very talented spouse, you probably get a higher points compared to a single person applying for skill migration in the future as well. So again, all these attributes will add on into working towards between the GTI criteria down towards a high pay employment sponsor and also towards the newly graduate. So that is the indicator there, and I believe the future of Australia will be focusing on highly technological advancements, and that's including health, hardware, semiconductor, engineering, space, defense, agri-tech, food tech, and all of that included in there. Anyway, should you have more question, query, more than welcome to leave comment right down below, and I'll see you next video. Goodbye.